Hola muchachos and muchacharinos, welcome or welcome back. Today it's not going to be a pure math lesson, but don't you worry, a little bit of it will be included to solve our math addiction. But the main topic of today's video is to give you some guidelines on the way on how to progress your roster, what you have to take into consideration and some no-goes. Because the best way to fight your inner FOMO demon is to have goals and your roster planned out. First, we go through some basic principles, and afterwards I show you an example of how I plan my character progression. And last but not least, I will give some advice on the best parking spots and what your general progression could look like. All that said, let's dive straight into it and talk about some general guidelines. Number 1. Do not compare yourself with other people. It's an obvious one, but I still want to point this out as one of the biggest FOMO drivers in the game is looking at other people and think, I want to be that guy. The only problem is that this is a never-ending cycle. My roster is quite good, but if I start comparing myself with other streamers, I feel behind. So, play at your own pace. Number 2. Raid nerfs. You gotta plan ahead for gold nerfs of existing raids and consider when it is better to push another character. If you are not sure when a potential nerf will happen, ask streamers or veteran players, as they have some experience about the timing. But educated guesses are always possible. Number 3. Be aware why you want to make a change in your roster. Is it for efficiency or do you just want to make a change because you enjoy a specific character the most? Number 4. Consider upcoming content and do it early. I am currently planning for Act 3 and my goal is to be hard mode ready. The raid is going to be released probably in May, but I'm making 2 different plans as there is a small chance they will release it earlier. It is very important to manage your resources properly and therefore not press the honing button blindly to get your character ready for a specific item level, even though you can clear all the current content relatively comfortable. Number 5. Eye level is not everything. If you decide to bring a character up to a specific item level, make sure the character is appropriately geared based on community standards or you will be gatekept. That brings me to number 6. Because gatekeeping might not be the biggest issue for you. Think about your personal situation. Do you have friends in the game who take you along, or are you completely reliant on the party finder? If you're completely reliant on the party finder, then you definitely have to make sure that gems and accessories are being taken care of before you hone up. Number 7. Your goal is not a prison. If circumstances change, you can always adapt and change. Just make sure that you don't aimlessly press the honing button. Personally, I usually don't press the honing button on an alt, except I know I will go 100% through with it. So before we now go into my personal roster development, let's talk about my plans. I already mentioned that I want to go for Act 3. And it will be dropping most likely in May, but there is a chance that it could drop in April. I'm going to look at both scenarios. Wifey and my plans are quite ambitious. We as content creators want to make sure that we can play the new raid on the hardest difficulty more than once. But as I said earlier, do not compare your plans with ours. This is just an example of how we are approaching it. We are doing this full time. So if we check out my main here, as you can see, I'm at item level 1701 and the new raid requires item level 1700. However, if Belshazzar taught us one thing, it is that doing raids on eye level is rough. Therefore my plan for my eye level is 1705 and my weapon should be at plus 22 or plus 23. Right now it's sitting at plus 20 and my armor is all on 1700 flat. Based on max roll with the average scenario, this is going to cost me 184k gold for my armor and about 347k for my weapon. Additionally, I will need about 4k Abydos fusion stones. In terms of materials, I'm already preparing for weeks in buying all the raid reward chests on my main. So for now, I assume I don't have to rely on buying materials in the market. However, I also need to invest in accessories. I currently have a high roll on my necklace and mid rolls on all of my other accessories. Which means I need to invest in them, because I should have at least one high roll on each accessory. This will cost me around 640k gold based on current market prices. So only for my main I need 1.1 million gold to reach my desired outcome. Next up is my 1690 bard. Pretty straightforward goal. I will hone my bard up to 1700 flat. Ideally I want higher gems here. But I will reroll the gems of my main to do the raid with my bard as I have more than enough silver right now. It might be a bit annoying, but I gotta be cost efficient, as I don't have the gold to invest in gems, and for the current content my gems are sufficient. But back to the honing costs. I need 430k gold and about 3500 Abydos. In terms of accessories, I will invest in proper earrings, which will be another 320k. All this combined, I need 1.9 million gold and 7600 Abydos. As I am permanently crafting Abydos, for me this is not really a big deal. I craft about 1200 of them per day and currently sell them as the market price is high, but will start holding onto them at some point. But what about the golds? I have a weekly gold income only from raids of about 510k. If the raid drops in April, I have currently 6 weeks left, which would be a total of 3 million gold, not including any Fate Embers, Una's Tasks or other lucky drops. Which means, if I need to buy materials in the market for my honing plans, I have 1.1 million gold extra. Therefore, I know my plans are realistic and I can think about what else I want to do with my roster, with the extra gold. If the raid comes out in May, it would even be a gold income of 5.1 million. Maybe if that is what is going to happen, I might invest into gems in my bard after all, and don't purely rely on re-rolling. Now let's have a hypothetical roster of 4 characters. 2 of them are sitting at 1640 and the third one is currently at 1660. And the main is sitting at 1680. If that roster has characters below 1620 and there is no Hyper Express, these characters are essentially dead. The only way to get them up is spending an insane amount of mats or money. Now, you would have to ask yourself first, what do you enjoy? If you want to play the latest content with your main, go ahead and hone it to 1690. But make sure you have your gems already sorted out and also your accessories. Otherwise, you will have problems getting a lobby into Prel hard mode. Of course, if you're a support, then the world looks a little bit different for you. But what if you want to go for efficiency here? And by that I don't mean in terms of gold earning, because the most efficient solution is not to hone any alt at all. Alts in this game are not profitable. My recommendations are more around best parking spots if you decide to hone your roster up. That said, for your hypothetical main, 1680 is the best high parking spot right now if you're already there. 1690 is giving you minimal upsides, especially considering Act 3 normal mode is going to be eye level 1680. So you could keep your main on 1680 and still enjoy the latest contents. If you would want to go to the newest raids on hard mode, which is item level 1700, then it would require an insane investment, which you obviously could do, but you also need to work on your accessories, etc, etc. So if you want to park it for now, 1680 is the best. But what about your 1660 character? 1660 is also a decent parking spot, because you have access to full arc passive. Furthermore, as a 1660 character, you don't really have to worry so much about gatekeeping. But 1670 can be even better because it doesn't require advanced honing and you get access to Karma and Braille normal modes. You also will earn some more gold out of the raids. But don't get me wrong, it's not a lot more and Karma is expensive, so it's not going to be profitable for you. But it sets you up for higher content. Going from 1670 to 1680 is going to cost you a lot of materials as you need to go for advanced honing plus 10. With the advanced honing scrolls, you're looking at 4000 Abydos alone. Also, you would need to make sure that you have your gems for Aegir hard mode figured out. It is clearable with level 5 gems, but if you don't have at least some 7 gems, you will not get a chance to prove it. But what about the 2 1640 characters? 1640 is definitely the most efficient parking spot you can be on. And as long as you prefer playing with your main or another character more, there is no reason to hone them up. However, with the latest changes for bound gold and nerfs, you should slowly consider to get your 1640s up to 1660. Another reason for it is gatekeeping. The community standards are always rising and they are going more into a direction where 1660 is going to be expected eventually. It might take 3 or more months until it gets more of an issue, but it is something to keep in mind. So if you want to focus on your main or another higher alt, I would keep them at 1640. But as said, finding a lobby will take you longer for sure compared to being at eye level 1660. But you gotta plan with the resources you have available and you won't be able to gear up everything. So what's the TLDR in terms of parking spots? 1640 is the most efficient parking spot and will bring you the best return on investment. 1660 is following directly after it. It provides you with full arc passive after a while and makes your party finder experience better. 1670 enables you with Brel and you park it right before advanced honing, so it's the next solid choice. To go for 1680 is only recommended if you have access to advanced honing scrolls. Everything above 1680 is not a parking spot anymore, but main character territory. Except you're playing for a long time or are willing to spend quite some money in the game. So guys, that's all for today. I hope this video helped you a little bit, because this is also one of the most asked questions in our Twitch chat. And many people are looking for some information on how to progress their roster. If it was helpful, then give it a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to follow up with some questions, either put them in the comments below, or you can also catch us on Twitch. We are streaming every day except Friday, starting at 4 p.m. Central European Time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.